Afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Today we're sitting here. We are going to be talking about how to adjust a throttle position sensor, TPS for short, on a 2014 Polaris RZR 570. It's very simple, not very hard. I'm gonna go through the steps on how you can manually check it and adjust it. You don't need any special tools other than a voltage meter. And I'm going to show you the tools in a minute that I used. Also the settings that it requires to be at. The fuel injection system on this RZR is a Bosch electronic system. Pretty much it works almost as the same as a vehicle. A car in the open loop system, in the open part of the loop system. On a car it starts on a open loop, and then after it warms up to a certain temperature it goes into a closed loop. Well, on these units it only runs in the open loop. But anyways, I'll show you how to adjust it. It's very, very simple. I know that there's some special tools that you can get to help you out on this. I mean, the dealer's got a computer system, software system that they use, and it's pretty simple. They just plug it in. They don't actually have to do any major stuff to it. However, most of us, well, we don't have that kind of money to be buying on tools that we're not going to be using that often. So it's kind of cost prohibitive for some of us. But anyways, manually, you can check it, adjust it, and set it, and it does the same thing as the dealer system does. Anyways, here it goes. Here in the next section, I'll show you how to do it. Okay, here I am going to show you the tools that I used. Very, very simple, easy tools that you can get at almost any shop. So, first, voltage meter, digital preferably. Some of you might have the digital auto ranging one. Some of you might have the digital manual ranging set one. Either one works, because all we're going to be using is the DC voltage side of it, specifically under 6 volts for us. Anyways, you're only going to be checking 5 volts at the max and setting it below 1 volt. So at the 6 or below voltage is going to be fine for you. Some of these meters actually go into the millivolts side if it's a digital auto ranging one. So just be careful when you see those settings. All it is the placement of the decimal on the numbers that come up. So just keep a lookout for that. The other thing is I use is these little probes. I use the little fish hook type probe, because what it is, when we connect it to the connector, we can't be looking at it and moving the connector and the sensor and trying to hold the probe at the same time. It's kind of hard, and it doesn't give a very accurate reading that way. So if you go to the electronics parts store and just give this little probe that hooks up to the actual probe like this, see it? And it just plugs right into it, and it helps out quite a bit, trust me. Otherwise, you're going to be trying to hold everything, or you're going to need 2 or 3 people to help you out. The other thing is screwdriver. Depends. Some of these sensors that are adjustable have different type of screws. Some of them have the Torx bit screw. Some of them have the Allen wrench screw. Mine here, the RZR, has a Phillips head screw. So, and because it's on the other side of the exhaust system, I'm going to be using a short Phillips head screw. The other thing, parts brake cleaner. The reason don't use carburetor cleaner, and usually the electronic parts cleaner is kind of greasy, so you don't need that right now. What it is because some of these connectors under the little lock tab carry trash, and it's kind of hard to break the lock. What it is, use this spray the brake cleaner on it, and it washes all that stuff out, and you can take the lock, and the connector will come apart a lot easier. And the other thing I almost forgot to tell you, the more special tool that we're going to be using here is a set of paper clips. Yes, don't be getting the big old paper clips. The little kids with school paper clips, little paper clips like this, you're going to need about 3 of them. That's about it, and I'm going to show you what these are for. You don't need a back probe. Try not to back probe the connector too much with the voltmeter, because what it is, you're going to end up ruining the insulation on the wire on the back side, and we don't want to do that. Anyways, I'll show you how to connect these paper clips to it, so you can actually get your reading here in a second. Alright, I'm going to show you how to use paper clips on the connector. Now this is not the actual connector on the razor. This is a connector that I have set up on the outside to show you how it goes. Once you go to connect it to the connector on the razor, you know how to do it and you can work in there. What it is kind of tight area in there, and trying to hold the camera and do everything at the same time is a pain. So I'm going to show you out here and then you're going to see it later on. Here it goes. What it is, you hold the connector here, the connector right here, and you take your paper clip and you go behind in the back of the connector to the wire, and you just slowly work it in there until you feel the paper clip make contact with the probe inside there, the little metal part. You'll feel, you just keep pushing slowly. Don't be pushing hard, but just push slowly and it will work itself, and it will eventually make contact. There it goes. Then you do again. Try not to be. You're going to be working with the key off on this, so don't turn the key on yet. You don't want power to anything, because the paper clips accidentally touch, we're going to ruin something. Anyways, and that's how it goes. See, like that? Now you're going to hook it up. I'm going to show you here in a minute what wires you're going to use. Anyways, here we go again. A couple of safety precautions here. We are going to be working with voltages, small and electronic parts. So please be careful that no components are touching against each other or anywhere near that it could cause a short, because otherwise you're going to be burning up some expensive equipment. Yeah, you're going to find that out when you have to replace the sensor. It's like $70 to $80 per sensor, if not more. The other thing, another safety precaution, as you disconnect the connectors, you're going to notice that inside some of the connectors, or in fact all the connectors, on one end, the male, the female end, there's going to be a rubber gasket seal. Make sure that whenever you connect these back up, that seal is back in place. That's a weather resistant seal. It is very important that it's in there. If you happen to not put that seal back in and you go riding, and especially if you hit the water and it comes up and hits in the seal, it's going to get inside the connector and it's going to start corroding, and it could even cause a short. We don't want a short in the middle of the water. Trust me, it's bad. Anyways, that's the safety precaution here. Make sure that the key is off. You don't have to disconnect the battery yet, because we're going to be needing power. But make sure that no components are touching. The key is off. I will let you know when the key needs to be back on. Here we are on the side of the right wheel well. The throttle position sensor, it is on the right side of the throttle body assembly. We're going to be connecting. Now I showed you earlier that you use the brake cleaner to clean the connector off, so you can clean off the lock and make sure there's no trash in there, so it can easily be disconnected. What we're going to be doing is using the wires, because there's 3 wires in the connector. There's going to be a purple, a green, and an orange. What we're using is the green and the orange. The purple carries anywhere from 3 to 5 volts into the sensor, and that's the reference. That is the reference voltage coming in. That is what the sensor uses to either the voltage either go up or down. That's what it uses as power. The other 2 is the actual signal itself. As the sensor turns, it's a potentiometer. It's like the radio knob on your car for the volume. As it turns, the voltage changes, and as you bring it back, again the voltage returns back to the original setting, which is the setting we're looking for is at the idle position. Idle position, throttle body closed. Okay, and we're going to do this by having the unit in the off position, the engine in the off position, and the key on. Engine not running. Remember this. Key on, engine not running. And the setting, we're looking at 0.46 volts plus or minus 0.03. Now that is a very, very small, so that's why you need a digital voltmeter. Now on your meter, if it goes into the auto ranging, some meters go into millivolts. So that's going to be just the decimal setting on that thing is going to be, and it's probably going to be like 46 or 50, something like that. Is going to say millivolts. But anyways, most of the time it'll stay in the 0.5, 0.4, something like that. So, just keep an eye on the number. But anyways, the number is going to be, we're looking for a 0.46 plus or minus 0.3 volts. Alright, anyways, here's a connector. I'm going to show you how I connected it, and anyways, I placed another connector in there in between so it give me a little bit more room to work with. Here it is. Connectors right here. Here's the paper clips. As you can see, the wires, you've got a purple, green, and an orange. I'm hooked up to the green and the orange, and I'm going to put the voltage meter here in a second, and we'll go from there. Okay, here we go. I have hooked everything back up again, and we're going to be ready to start the adjustment. Remember I told you earlier there was 2 small screws that you have to loosen on the throttle position sensor itself. That is so you can adjust the sensor. I'm going to show you where they're at. And usually sometimes the first time you loosen these 2 screws takes a little bit of torque to take them off. You don't have to take them off completely. Just loosen them up enough to where you can actually rotate the sensor around. Alright, here we go. Anyways, I'm going to show you the 2 small screws that you have to loosen, and then we will turn the key on and go from there. Here we go. 2 screws. One here and one on the opposite side. All you do is loosen that by half a turn on each one, and that should be enough for you to be able to rotate the sensor around. All you do is just push on the side slowly. If you're pushing real hard, loosen the screws a little bit more. Okay, let's turn the key on. Key is on, and here's the setting. Actually, our sensor is set already, so we don't actually have to move anything. So it's good for us. Remember we were checking it, and we needed to adjust it. We're going to do that. Yes, I know the third number is burned out a little bit. Hey, but sometimes that's how you got to work with the digital stuff. Anyways, we know we're looking for 0.46 plus or minus 0.03 volts DC. So we're actually 0.46. So actually we're pretty good. And that's all you do. Before you do anything else, and if you touch anything else, make sure you turn the key off. And then come tighten the screws, and then turn the key back on again to actually check the voltage again and make sure that you didn't move the sensor around. And once you get done with that, everything should be working fine, and you should have a check engine light. Your unit should be working correctly. Also, another thing before I close this out, you should never have to move the idle speed adjustment. If for any reason the idle speed is off, there's something else wrong with the unit. So before you start moving with that or start messing with that, check other stuff that could be wrong. Most of the time the idle speed is controlled by the ECU. So you having to manually move it around is you're just messing something else up. So check what the problem is and go from there. Alright, hopefully this helps you out, and